Hey, it's Mark from GAK.co.uk and here for another video from Breakout Festival, and I'm here with Mikey from Skindred talking about this wonderful Fender Telecaster. It's not a standard telly, is it?
It's not, no. It's a bit of a dog. It's lovingly, affectionately called the Ratocaster. So it's a bit of a rat. It's a bit of this and a bit of that. Yeah, man.
What we got going on? What did it start life as?
Well, it's basically a couple of different guitars put together. It's the neck of a Highway 1 Stratocaster. I really like the big fret wire on those Strats. I think it might even be like 6100 fret wire. If you know your frets, that's quite big.
It's definitely chunky. 70s headstock as well.
Yep, 70s headstock, block logo, kind of like that whole aesthetic. It's just a standard Mex telly body, no frills. It was black, and I just sort of sprayed it with silver graffiti paint, several layers over time. I was trying to make it look good, and as you can see, over time it's kind of just all fallen off. And
how long did it last before the first bit fell off?
Probably the first time I played it. I walked away, I had loads of silver on my leg, so it was sort of off after a gig. It just sort of, my whole thing was silver. But as you can see from the back, it's practically all come off. It's just a little bit left and around the edge as well. But I like it. It kind of looks beaten up, But you sort of try to make things look nice, and it just doesn't happen. I've kind of learned that it just doesn't, I couldn't have a guitar that was nice and preened over. I like the idea of it, but you try to keep something immaculate. It's just never going to happen. These things are, tools at the end of the day. And
it's weird, that paint in particular. I mean, it almost looks like an old finish where like the primer's coming through underneath or something. It looks like kind of nitrocellulose cracking, yeah, but it was just some like car paint or something.
It's just graffiti paint. It's Montana gold graffiti paint. Well, it's silver, but the brand is Montana, and the variety is the gold kind of cans. But it kind of started to crack and looks like a big leaf. It's crazy. But it was just literally solid silver at one point, and then slowly it started to do this. I've since learned how to finish guitars properly. I do it properly with nitro and sanding and do the whole deal. But this was like the first attempt, and kind of just looks, it looks cool. It's it just sort of, it's kind of got that Joe Strummery kind of thing about it, I suppose, where it's all natural wear. None of it's like, it's all happened. And even the back of the neck as well has kind of got this sort of worn out feel where I get my tech to sand it between songs and stuff. Like if I hand it out, I'll just, rather than wipe it off with a cloth, we'll do it with like 1500 grit sandpaper or something, just really high grit, and it just comes off like baby powder, It's an interesting technique. I never thought that, in between songs would be the prime time to do it, but I guess once it's all sweated up and rough and ready, gets it in there, it just kind of gets the vibe in. Sound, that's happened over a few years. This is, I suppose, I put this together in like 2009 or something, I suppose. So 2009, 2010. So it's 4 or 5 years old, and it gets played all the time. This is like the main one, and it's it's fairly, the body's not been changed. It's got a few a few holes in it and stuff. But
what you got going on pickup wise? Because obviously they're not standard telly pickups in there.
No, they're Seymour Duncan hot rails for telly, not to be confused with the other ones. I think they're a slightly different configuration to Strat ones. There's one specifically for the neck and one specifically for the bridge.
It's probably just the mounting, I'd imagine. The Strat one's going to be a different layout.
Yeah, right, exactly. The way these things attach, I think, is kind of different. And it's wired volume as well. So there's
volume for each pickup?
Yeah, because I tend to kind of got used to having, I kind of do a lot of like cleaner stuff with the neck pickup. I never had amps with lots of channels or things like that. So what I do is I have the neck pickup sort of rolled down a bit, and you sort of be playing and then go to a quieter bit and just like picky little, like do a lot of this sort of stick bass stuff or some of the reggae stuff, and do a lot of that with that, like that kind of smaller neck pickup.
Who needs a tone control? Basically, that's what we're saying.
Well, I don't think they do anything unless you turn it down. Right? Yeah. If it's all the way on, I don't know if it affects the sound. I don't know. I don't really know much about it. I've got a few guitars with nice big vintage looking tone caps in and stuff, and it all looks great. But then you see it up, and it's like I don't know if it really sounds any different.
Yeah.
I don't really know.
What are you doing amp wise? What are you plugging into?
Amp wise, it's Orange Rockaverb, 100 watts. 2 of those on stage, and basically I have a load of effects in front of it, and it drives them one cab per one head, so it's like left and right stereo. Because I do some ping-ponging delays and panning and stuff like that.
Sure.
So you know, out front it kind of sounds like.
Yeah. I mean, I know that your pedal board is quite extensive. Probably won't have time to do a full rundown of it now, but what's the kind of go-to pedal?
Right. Oh, I've always got like a whammy, like a Digitech whammy. I've been through every one they do really. I've started off with a WH1. I've had a couple of them, and they sound great, but they're not the most roadworthy. They're kind of like vintage thing now, you know. So I've got a couple of those at home, like under lock and key, but use a whammy 4 now, which that's like a vintage thing now as well, I think. Yeah. There's
the one main model since that, but then they've done loads of iterations on the DTs and stuff since then.
I've used DT. I've used that for something else live, like behind the scenes. That does some weird pitch shifting thing on one song. They've just sent me one of those new drop pedals as well, which I'm trying to get into the rig just to try something with. I like being able to do stuff with pitch shifting and stuff. The 5's good. I've got the 5 on another pedal board. Right. But a lot of the effects I'm doing it all with an Axe Effects at the moment. Okay. Just because we do so many fly-in things over the summer where we'll go all over Europe on a plane, and it's just, this thing's like one box. And it's all right. You know, it's no way as good as the real thing. You know, it's, all the pedals, but it's just one. It's less to go wrong for fly-ins and stuff like that.
I guess if you need a solution that's going to allow you to sound the same wherever you go and just plug in straight away, like you say, not as good as a real thing, but it does the job.
Right. Yeah. It's kind of consistency and reliability a bit. I mean, it's been a bit unreliable, so I don't know if it's better or not yet. It's all an experiment.
My opinion, you can't beat individual single pedals, but if you don't want to be carting around a big box of them around the world, so
that's it. I mean, there's some that I have duplicates of and spares, and then there's some that I don't, and it's those ones that always tend to go wrong. You know, when you're in the middle of India or somewhere, and you can't get a replacement for miles around.
Definitely. All right, well, I mean, thanks for coming out to talk to us. That guitar is probably the best guitar I've seen today. It's just a stunning looking guitar.
That's cool.
There we go. I'm a kind of sucker for the crack finish, you know.
Oh, me too. I mean, I love it. I mean, I think Tellies are really sort of honest guitars, you know. They're really sort of workhorsey guitars, I suppose people say it's a workhorse, but they've got a lot, they do a lot, there's not much to them, you know. There's nothing behind the scenes, no secret ingredient. It's just a cool thing that they got right first time.
Yeah. 60 years later, still basically the same guitar.
Exactly, yeah, I love them.
Awesome. Thanks for coming out to speak to us, and have a good rest of your festival.
Thanks, man.
Cheers.